Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies? Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. Yes, this is Douglas Viviani with the rather, what would I say, Avenger himself, David Cohen.
But you know I'm a DC man.
That's why I say to get you aggravated. The detective comic man himself. Was that better to say?
I feel like I'm turning into the Hulk already.
We've had an experience with the Hulk in the past.
Yes, we have.
And it was not as we expected. It was not too much fun.
No.
That poor guy, he's got a tough life. If you look back on our old shows and everythingoldisnewagain.biz, everythingoldisnewagain.biz, and you can hear that old interview. We're here talking about superheroes for a reason. Why is that?
Well, because we have a special guest with us today.
Well, we'll get to the special guest in a moment. But first, I wanted to just talk about the idea that we have...
Because we like talking about superheroes? I don't know. Why are we...
The Justice League came out, and that was hugely successful.
Yes.
And we now have, coming out soon, Avengers Infinity War. So I think it's time for there to be a war of words in the Everything Old is New Again world.
Okay.
We need to have the arguments you love to have.
So, like, which is better? Is that what we're doing today?
Well, we may go down that road, but at least I want to have a discussion of Avengers versus the Justice League.
Okay. Yeah, we should talk about this before we do the show.
It might be a good idea to just give you a smidge of just an idea of what happens. But it's just...
I'm game. Let's do it.
Just two guys hanging around. And actually, no longer two guys. We now have a new member of the Rogues Gallery who have joined us before, and she's joining us one more time for her fourth appearance.
Wow.
On Everything Old is New Again. Michelle DeFranco.
Hi, guys.
How are you, Michelle?
I'm fine.
Are you a comics fan to begin with? Comic books when you grew up. Did you read any of them ever?
Yes, I read Archie, the Jughead.
Right.
Or no, Archie and the Jugheads.
Right.
Or whatever.
Obviously, you were a big fan.
And I remember reading Richie Rich.
Okay.
Richie Rich.
And Dot.
Good.
Oh, wow.
Any superheroes, just throwing it out there. Those were great. Archies were fun. That's...
Yeah, for sure. I used to watch on television Almighty ISIS.
Almighty
Wonder
ISIS.
Woman, absolutely
Linda
for
Carter.
sure. Yes.
Good.
Aquaman, or not Aquaman, Ultraman.
Wow.
Remember
going back.
Ultraman?
Yes, I do.
Interesting.
Yep.
I do.
So,
how about those Saturday morning cartoons with those superheroes? You ever watch those? The Super Friends, it was. Right?
Super Friends. It was Batman, Superman, and the kid and his dog.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. We watched a lot of Batman. I got to tell you, Batman.
The TV show.
Yes. Batman
With Burt Ward.
was big in our house. Absolutely. Watched all of them.
And were you happy with the development of I was saying not Catwoman, Batgirl coming on to that show? That was the second season.
Yeah, I thought that was a character that could be totally utilized more. And I think that she was sidelined for... I think she could have really become her own character, had her own spin-off show, even back then. Batgirl.
But as a kid, I mean, you got a kick out of her.
Loved her.
Yeah, she was a big hit.
Role model.
Yvonne Craig.
Yeah, really feisty, really scrappy.
Right. Okay.
Great.
So
does it impress you that we had Burt Ward on this show once, the original Robin?
It totally impresses me that Burt Ward was on this show.
Cool. All right.
I'm totally impressed. You guys are the superheroes of talk radio.
How about that?
And you read the script very well, Michelle.
As if it was never written. Now, here's the thing. With the Avengers Infinity War and the Justice League, it brings to fruition a lot of work that's happened from the 50s when you talk about DC, 40s, holy smokes.
Sure.
The 40s till now. These movies now are the biggest movie franchises in the world. Not only could also say the big movies unto themselves, but as far as franchises, there are no.
Marvel's crazy. It is the superhero movie franchise right now.
I mean, used to think of Star Wars, Star Trek. Used to think of 007. No, in terms of the franchise, I'm talking about sequels and so forth. Nothing beats these two, especially Avengers is the king money-wise.
These
right
two,
now.
meaning you're talking about DC also, right?
DC, yes,
which is not doing really nearly as well, but it is up there.
But yes. DC now has a number of really good TV shows, which we'll get into. Gotham, it's got The Flash,
Supergirl.
Arrow, Supergirl. Supergirl's not that great, I don't think. I would say to you, unfortunately, but. Guardians of the Galaxy have come out now for Avengers in the theater. They're doing a third one of those
for Marvel. Yeah,
for Marvel. Yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp's coming out soon. Black Panther right now is
one
Marvel. Of the biggest money, and it got 10 out of 10. The reviews on Black Panther are the best reviews of any superhero movie almost ever made. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Is that out now?
It's coming out. Yes, it's out now. And it actually was out a couple months ago, I should say.
Right.
And
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
so
right.
That being the case, you must have missed that. But yeah, it was a big hit. I mean, it's going to make did make a lot of money. It's going to make more, and they're doing a sequel for that as well. You know who's in that? The girl, I don't forget her name, from The Walking Dead with the sword, with the katana.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I know who you mean. Of course, her name escapes me, but yes.
She very gracefully bowed out of our show. We asked her to be on, and she's not available yet, but we may get her down the line.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be fun. Anyway, point is that all of this stuff is on the table. The question is it treating the franchises properly? Are they going in the right direction? Is there a difference between Avengers and Justice League, or is Justice League just right now a rip-off, let's say, of the Avengers, or a pale comparison? What you tell me?
Well, first of all, Justice League, correct me if I'm wrong, did not do as well as they thought. The critical reviews were not very good. So it didn't really get off. I don't think they're off to a good start, the DC side. I mean, all the Batman movies, Superman movies have done relatively well. But that's been it, really, for them. So hopefully the next Justice League movie will be better. Wonder Woman was amazing. But as far as franchising this thing with the Justice League to rival Marvel's Avengers, so far not so good.
Now, Michelle, you have some perspective on this. Tell me, do you prefer one versus the other? Avengers versus Justice League, or DC
or Archie Comics,
right?
One of those.
Well, you're a person that's perfect to ask because you haven't experienced this as a comic book reader. So, just as watching some of these movies, what would you think? Where do you stand? Do you prefer one, or are they the same, or does it matter at all?
I like both of them for different reasons. I mean, I like Wonder Woman and the fact that she's from a different planet, and she's not really human. And so I like that idea that they're very powerful and they're not reluctant superheroes. And they just kind of own the power and they want to save the world or what have you. But then on the flip side, I like Marvel superheroes because sometimes it's fun to see the human side of the superhero and the flaws that they have and the reluctance that they have, to go fight crime and do whatever. So I guess it depends on the mood I'm in.
But that's a great perspective from someone that is not I think David and I are in some ways when you examine this, we're too into it because we've followed these characters since 1965 or whatever.
Gotcha.
Speak for yourself, David, man. That's
all right,
early
1970 at least, whatever for you. No, but the point is, since I learned to read on comic books,
right?
One of the things,
and you can tell.
So that being, it's so interesting to hear you say kind of the same things that we're reflecting back as well, is that Avengers, I think you could say, or let's say Marvel, it's serious in some ways, but it keeps with the tone of a comic book and the color of the comic book, the colors and the vibrancy, and you see the DC takes it more seriously, and their characters like you say, most of them own who they are. Mm-hmm. They're not fighting that. They don't have that duality too much.
Right.
But I don't know. I might be wrong here, but the scenes, the way they film the DC stuff, it's got this like dark metal tinge to it. There's this black cloud on it. You know what I'm saying? When
I think you're right. I mean, in terms of Batman, just
the production values of it.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, I know what you mean. I guess when you're talking about that, I prefer the ones that keep to the color and the of the comic books. I like
right. Comics books should be more, fun, but a better word, than not so serious. This is not The Godfather, you know?
Right. No, I agree. I
think that's what DC's going off a little bit. Anyway, we'll be back right after this, and Everything Old is New again to continue with the Rogues Gallery discussing Avengers versus the Justice League.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Welcome back. We're here with the detective comic genius himself, David Cohen.
Oh, thank you for the genius reference.
And we have Michelle DeFranco, who is representing every female on the planet. Michelle.
As it should be. Thank you.
And, of course, we're talking about the Avengers versus Justice League, DC versus Marvel. We're just having some fun with this and getting different perspectives. And I know everyone listening has had to have seen one of these movies, Marvel or DC movies and or TV show. There's tons of TV shows on TV and have been on TV for these characters.
Which is where TV shows usually are.
Exactly. It's a good pickup. That's why he's here. That's why he makes the big bucks.
I'm your autocorrect.
So let's look at just character-wise. We were talking about, Marvel's a little lighter in their characters, so there are some serious things going on at times, but they seem to keep a comic book sense to it, sensibility, and Justice League. Like you saw that before the Justice League, there was Batman versus Superman.
Right.
And that introduced Wonder Woman, which we'll definitely get into a big discussion of Wonder Woman in our third section of the show. So stay tuned for that. But as far as Justice League is concerned, it grew out of, it's kind of a sequel to that movie and what happened in that movie, which was not so, I'm not going to give it away, but wasn't so great an event for Superman.
No, right.
But the question then comes in, that movie did not make a ton of money. It seemed like it could have made tons.
Batman vs. Superman?
Yeah. Is it because of the actors? Is it because it was dark? Is it because the bright spot of that movie was Wonder Woman, and she got a sequel out of it, clearly, or her own movie out of it, and did a great job with that. What's the difference? Why is Wonder Woman taking off, seems to be taking off, and I don't know, Batman, Superman's kind of staying kind of languid?
I think that Batman vs. Superman thing just really did damage to both of those superheroes for DC. I mean, look at all the success.
But it's a great idea.
Was it? I don't know.
I thought it was a great idea. I don't even care about these guys, and I thought, now that's a cool idea. It must be because the story was not a good story and it wasn't written well.
I agree with you. Here's the thing. And I relate with a younger generation of younger children. There are some movies and things, if it doesn't get, even Star Wars, I try to show it to my 8-year-old, if it doesn't get to where they want to go, whether it's action or whatever they're looking for in a movie, there's too much backstory, there's too much introduction of the characters in the beginning, they're not in.
Right.
And I think that's to their detriment. You can't watch Jaws and cut like the beginning of Jaws be the one scene where the Jaws is attacking the people right away. You got to get to know who these people are, no?
I think you're right. I mean, it's called exposition. You have to get to know the setting, the characters a little bit, but then soon you have to get to that inciting incident, what starts the conflict. If it comes too soon, if it comes too late, you're not going to hook your viewers,
right.
I think.
But you got to like Spider-Man. Otherwise, I don't care how many buildings he's flying off of with the web and so forth. You don't care. You got to like
you got to get
the character, or at least get to know him. Yeah. So
But they did. I mean, you knew Batman and Superman. It's not like you had to get to know them. I think the problem with that movie was the concept was a good concept, but there's no way, I don't think, they were ever going to live up to the hype it created. Batman versus Superman was a way to get people into the theater, get DC fans excited about it. But in my mind, anyway, there was no way it was going to live up to the hype, and it was bound to be.
Well, what did you want to see that you didn't see?
I don't know, because that's why I didn't think it was a great idea.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure what I wanted to see, and I think whatever they presented, I'd probably have a problem with it. Like, how in the world would Batman ever beat Superman? I mean, right from the start, that's problematic. And then, if it's not that way, or if it is that way, if Batman does win, what does that mean? That means Superman's gone? I don't know. As a fan, I understood why they were doing it, but I think they were just setting themselves up to fail, which they did.
Now, you have to be a wrestling fan to get this reference, but I'm going to give it a shot. There was this WWF WrestleMania where Hulk Hogan, we all know who Hulk Hogan is, right? He's an icon, and he comes in with the American flag and the music, and he's the hero. Well, now he became a heel, and he came back to WWF, WWE now, and he was in WrestleMania, and it was he's still in shape, but he was got to be in his 40s. He was on the way out. He was going to be one of the last times you're ever going to see this gentleman who was Babe Ruth. He's the icon of this sport. The next icon of the sport who you see now in the movies, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, was the next person that picked up the mantle, that really picked up the mantle for this man and carried that sport on his back with the way he could speak, with his persona and so forth. So now you have two huge icons battling each other, and they were both good guys in this sport. Just like these two good guys fighting each other. But in that vein, it ended in a way that was so memorable that people still talk about it today. If you're a wrestling fan, they fought a great battle, and at the end, no matter who won, who lost, I don't want to ruin it for you if you didn't see it, they shook hands and appreciated each other and said, whatever differences we had, because in wrestling you got to make a story, Right. Whatever the differences we had, we overcome because we respected each other in the ring and whatever happened.
Right.
I think, to me, the ending of that Batman versus Superman was so deflating for the fans of Superman that they walked out depressed and said, I don't even want to see this stuff anymore because he didn't get any respect. Does that make sense? Is that really out there? But does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. I think that, with the Hulk Hogan and The Rock situation, was there an underdog, or they were coming in equally?
That's a great question. One was the up-and-coming guy that was very well known and top of his game. The Hulk was coming back as the conquering hero who's had all this history behind him.
Because I think
and they're both good guys. I didn't interrupt you, but the way it worked was they didn't know when they started the match who was going to win. They waited to hear, back in the old days, what they would do is they'd say, let the crowd decide who's the winner. Let the crowd decide who's the heel and who's the good guy. And the crowd went back and forth, and finally the crowd went on the side of The Rock, and The Rock carried the day. And it was a surprise to everybody. But regardless, they knew, they said to each other beforehand, when this ends, we're going to end on good terms, respecting each other, shaking hands, and both of them held each other's hands up. So almost like there was no winner in a way, or the loser at least was respected. And that's what needs to be, or needed to be in this thing, I think. You tell me, Michelle. Am I wrong?
Well, no, I asked if there was an underdog because I think people like the underdog story, like, Rocky and Apollo Creed or something like that. So with Superman and Batman, does Batman's stuff equal Superman is isn't he almost infallible?
Yes.
Hence the bad idea. Yeah, I just think it was a bad.
Although it sold tremendously as a comic book back in the 90s, that came from a comic book.
Yes.
The story must have been, the writing was bad.
Or was it Ben Affleck?
Then.
Do we blame him? He was in an outfit the entire time, so I can't think you can blame him. But I don't know. I know.
But they stumbled there, and then when the Justice League movie came out, it got panned. So they're really.
Well, what a great idea for the Justice League movies, getting Spider-Man, Superman, and figuring out can we get this guy back to life? Can we do anything to help him? And let's gather the forces. We got all these characters together that are going to be great. And I have to say, Wonder Woman was very good in that movie and carried her own movie, and we'll talk about that shortly, but other than that, is there any redeeming value to that Justice League? What are we doing with DC? How are we going to make this better?
I don't know. Is there room for two? Is there room for two super house separate franchises that are both about superheroes.
Well, how is it that DC gets it right in television? DC in television's got The Flash, which is doing gangbusters.
Right.
Has
For several years now.
Several years. Has Arrow, which has been on even longer than that, which is doing pretty good. It's got Gotham, which is doing tremendous. It's entering its third season. Anybody that watches these kind of shows says that is top of the line. So they're doing a great job on television. Why is it not relating to movies? I don't know.
Maybe when you put them all together in a movie, there's just too much. It sounds like taking them and giving them each like an episodic TV show, you can slow it down a little bit and take the stories step by step for each superhero. Maybe shoving them all together, they're just not getting the right.
Well, that's a great question about this Infinity War, because in the Avengers Infinity War has a cast. I'm going to read this off as fast as I can, but you got to listen to this. I'm just going to read who they are. You've got Iron Man. Then you've got Thanos. You have the Hulk. You've got Loki. You've got Thor. You've got Steve Rogers, which is Captain America. You have who else? Hawkeye is in this movie. Star-Lord, which is from Guardians of the Galaxy. You have Scarlet Witch. You've got the Winter Soldiers. Doctor Strange. The Vision. You've got from Nick Fury, you've got Maria Hill from Nick Fury. You've got it's incredible. All the Guardians of the Galaxy are in there. You also have the Black Widow. You've got Ant-Man. You've got Spider-Man. You got Falcon. You got Black Panther. The War Machine. It goes on and on. Pepper Potts, which is the Iron Man's girlfriend, if you will, but she's more than that. But okay, and you've got War Machine. So, I mean, look at all of those characters that are in this movie. How is it that this movie is so successful and so well received with so many characters? It almost seems impossible that they could pull it off, but they did. So, I don't know. We'll come back right after this on Everything Old is New Again and try to figure out, the problems of DC versus Marvel. And let's look at the successful DC character of Wonder Woman when we come back. Right after this. Everything Old is New Again. It's a shame as summer starts to fade, the outdoor barbecues with hot dogs and mustard get tucked away. But don't sweat it. Bowers is a mustard for all seasons, with a horseradish kick that continues the summer taste all year long. Spice up a leg of lamb, slather it on a steak, bake it in a brie, and of course, layer it on your favorite hot dog. In true Everything Old is New Again style, we've found a mustard that tastes as new as when the first jar was produced by August Bauer in 1888. This creamy, addictive condiment could very well have been what your grandfather used at his barbecue. Bauer's has been delighting generations for 130 years. The best-kept secret in mustard is now out of the jar. Buy a jar online at abauersmustard.com. That's ABAUERS mustard.com, or from your local store listed on their website. Again, abauersmustard.com. Bauer's Mustard, all natural, all authentic, always delicious, and recommended by all of us. And Everything Old is New Again.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything Old is New Again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Welcome back. We're having some great fun with David Cohen. He loves DC Comics as opposed to Marvel, that's for sure. So we'll call him Detective Comic himself, David Cohen.
Thank you.
We're also here with a newest member of the Rogues Gallery, Michelle DeFranco. Fourth appearance on the show. What do you think?
Oh, I'm having a ball. Thank you so much for having me.
When does she get the jacket? How many times does she have to appear to get the Old New Again jacket?
Well, they'll be for sale soon.
But like Saturday Night Live. I think when you host five times, you get the jacket.
Exactly. It's good. That's a good point. Let's make it 7.
I want the
appearances.
shirt.
The white shirt?
Yeah, with
that we can do.
The staff shirt. It's a staff
shirt.
And we'll love to see that on Facebook, plastered everywhere. You're wearing that.
Absolutely.
This is me at the Statue of Liberty, the shirt. This is me at Lion King. And okay. Anyway.
Lion King. Where did that come
in New York
from?
City. I was trying to get you to all different places.
Statue of Liberty, Lion King. Let's see. What other landmarks are there in New York City?
That's it for me.
Poor Doug. Well, I don't know how you take it from him week after week.
And when was the last time you were actually in New York City? If all you remember is the Lion King and the Statue of Liberty.
That's a whole other story.
Leave him alone.
Leave him be.
We only have 11 minutes, David Cohen. Now, here's the thought. The new torchbearer for DC Comics clearly is Wonder Woman, without hesitation.
As it should be.
And why should it be that way? Let's hear that point of
Well,
view.
enough with male superheroes. There's a reason why women don't go to the superhero movies. It's because there are no women superheroes being portrayed.
Yes, I'm looking forward to. I took Angelica and Leo 2 years ago to see Ant-Man, and they were, 6-ish and 4-ish at the time. I can't remember the exact ages. And they enjoyed it, but I asked her if she wanted to see it again or another movie and, of that ilk. And I said it looked like at the end of the movie there'll be a sequel and there'll be the Wasp. The fact that there will be a Wasp in the new movie, that makes her interested to go see it. She probably said, if it wasn't a Wasp, I loved it, but I want to see it again.
The Wasp obviously is a female character.
Yes,
right?
And so that's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And I agree, it's time to bring some more females into the arena, and that's, I think, why Guardians of the Galaxy might be so popular.
That probably is. And also, those are well-written movies,
Yes.
I think, with great story arcs. And but absolutely, we want to see ourselves up there as superheroes.
I picture that too. Like, I think to myself, what am I thinking? Star Trek, the Discovery, and I'm okay with it. But consciously now thinking, they just had an event happen with the captain who was a male who's now out of the show, and so the top 3 characters in the show are female. And there's really, right now, there's not many, if any, strong, except for one alien male character. There's no male character on that bridge. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm saying now it's interesting. I never had that perspective in my life. Now the reverse, saying if I was, a different person, would that offend me? Would I turn this show off because it's only women? I have no problem with it, but
some people do.
But exactly, and I can exactly. But also, I can understand from being the reverse. If all of Marveldom was all male, which it is lots of male characters, and DC's even more male versus female, yeah, maybe I wouldn't identify with any. I don't want to just identify with, nothing wrong with Lois Lane, but I want to identify with a superhero, and I don't want it to be Supergirl. Like, that's, like, I'm a woman. Like,
right, the female version of a male comic book character.
Has to be girl, not Superwoman.
Like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A grown-up, not a girl.
Exactly. So I totally get what you're saying, but it's something I never really thought about.
Well,
over
no,
time.
I mean, you don't think about it when you're always tuning in. Every time you tune into something, it's all male, whether it's sports, politics, or superhero movies. You just figure that's the way it is. But as a young girl, you also don't question it. But then when you grow up, you're like, wait a minute, well, where are the women?
Right.
So
now I'm just going to throw this out there. When you saw The Godfather, for example, is it as revered, let's say, to you as it is to a male? And why is that, do you think?
Well, first of all, Well,
forget the subject matter. I'm talking about it's really male-dominated. I'm just trying to get to that.
Very male-dominated.
Yeah.
And it's an allegory of American industrialism. And so there you go. It reflects our culture. It reflects the way that we,
Diane Keaton wasn't enough to kind of tip the scales for you, I guess.
And Talia Shire was there, too. But I was just on the top of my head trying to think of something that was extraordinarily popular, but certainly male-oriented.
It's not the movie that bothers me. It's what it represents. Just,
All right, well, let's think of it different. I get that. I'm trying to get to just like a male-dominated kind of very
pick another movie then.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But I get the idea that, how do you identify when there's no one to identify with but males on the screen, is what we're saying.
You don't.
Right?
You're not as interested. Right. No, I'm not. Every time The Godfather is playing on TV, I don't want to, I don't naturally gravitate towards it the way he does.
And I think DC, what they're doing right on television is they've got a group of people, in The Flash, for example, that support The Flash. And a majority of them, or at least 50-50, is male-female. So you have people to identify. And there's a superhero in that group as well that you can identify with, which certainly makes sense. And that has to lend in some way to the success.
I agree,
I think so. Definitely.
All right.
I didn't mean to chime in there.
What do we got here? Somebody knocking on the door? Oh, boy. Interrupted. Ay. All right, what do we got?
Is it me? Are we on?
Commissioner Gordon, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Who you got here? Who's this with you? I don't recognize
I'm here with my daughter,
Barbara Gordon.
Oh, I didn't recognize.
Who is better known to the world as Batgirl.
Batgirl, yeah.
Oh, but
Hi.
I didn't see. Yeah, something I don't even recognize. I didn't even recognize you, Batgirl.
Well, I don't always dress like Batgirl. Sometimes.
If you were wearing that outfit, I would recognize you.
All right, careful there, Viviani.
It's okay, Dad. It's okay.
I would recognize you
I'm
in a second.
I'm an adult, Dad. It's okay. I got it.
We came here because we're upset with the treatment of Batgirl.
Really?
My daughter.
You know, you sound like a Bernie Brillstein I've heard here before.
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't have a New York
Agent
accent.
of Oz? You never... Oh, okay.
Well, no, that's not. I'm Commissioner Gordon.
Okay, now, Commissioner, you're here because you don't like the treatment of Batgirl, what you're saying.
I think women like Michelle DeFranco was saying,
yes,
women are underrepresented in superhero movies and in superheroes in real life. My daughter deserves better, and we're here to make her case on the air.
Batgirl, you were represented by Yvonne Craig in Batgirl. She had an affair with Elvis. She was really a tremendous actress there. Had a nice position. She actually did a sequel. What would you call it? A spin-off show, Batgirl. I mean, wasn't that something that is feather in your cap?
Well, and Dad, thanks first of all for encouraging me to come here to talk to them.
Of course, sweetheart.
I
I'm
appreciate
always
it.
here for you.
Thank you. I just think that...
Speak a little closer to the mic.
I'm so sorry. I just think that, like, there have been 2 Catwoman movies. There's a Catwoman in Gotham. There's Poison Ivy in Gotham. I'm just wondering, where's my movie?
Interesting. You don't think DC's really carrying your legacy properly?
No, I really, really don't. I think that I'm a really powerful superhero, and just because
you're slouching, dear. Move
I'm a little
there you go.
Little soft spoken. As soon as I put my uniform on, I embody my persona. And I just don't understand why I'm not getting any respect.
So no, yeah.
The transformation when she moves from being Barbara Gordon into Catwoman, into Batgirl, excuse me.
Dad.
Is sorry, dear.
See, you don't get any respect from that even.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
It's unbelievable.
Because the outfits are very similar. I think that's probably the reason why.
My point is the power and the fury that you could hear in her voice already demonstrates that she needs a place in the comic book world.
So when she's wearing the glasses and she's she's the librarian and so forth, that's one persona. But when you get on that motorcycle and you've got that outfit with the Batman and the I don't know what to call it, the Batman symbol on it,
the Batgirl
insignia, and you got the belt and all that.
Belt.
It
and
gives
the
you,
motorcycle.
what does it do to you? You seem to something happens.
Well, I turn into a badass, Douglas.
Oh.
So I really feel that DC's just not giving me a chance to represent my power in a film.
All right. So what's your choice? Well, you're part of the DC universe. What choice do you have? You going to do something
Dad,
about this?
Do you want me to?
Yeah,
reveal?
we've come here also to make an announcement,
Yes.
and you can hear the fury in her voice and the anger.
She is frightening me
beneath the surface.
Yeah.
It's right beneath the surface.
Can I just say that I think librarians overall have been underestimated as a population, and I think that as a result, with the encouragement, of course, of my father, I'm going to go ahead and sign on to do the Avengers movie.
That's right. We're making the switch from DC to Marvel.
Oh wow! You're going to be in the next Avengers flick.
I just really feel that Marvel is a place where my powers will be better represented and better appreciated. So
congratulations! I think that's great. I think the first thing you should do is contact the Black Widow. Team up, see how she's making out. She wears a similar outfit, and I don't know. You might be able to have a little camaraderie there.
And I think next time I come on your show, I think, Dad, you can stay home.
Ah, nice. See,
you see the growth here. You see the growth in this young woman.
I take full credit for
and
it.
the confidence.
And Douglas,
yes,
would you like me to wear my costume next time, my uniform?
Please do, please. It will be. I would love to have a picture, a signed autograph.
Young lady, if you're wearing that costume, I'm coming with you. I don't trust this guy.
We'll be back and everything old is new again right after this.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
You're wrong wrong about them. They're everything you say, but so much more.
They do not deserve your protection!
It's not about deserve. It's about what you believe. And I believe in love.
Then I will destroy you!
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. That was Ares threatening Wonder Woman in the new Wonder Woman movie. Wonder Woman possibly bringing to a new element to the mix, which we'll talk about on Everything Old is New Again with Michelle DeFranco visiting us today from New York City. Michelle, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
David Cohen, you are here as well.
What an intro. Thank you. David Cohen, I just noticed you're sitting there.
So I want to talk about and dive into Wonder Woman. That
I bet you would.
That is not a good...
That clip shows, I think, the huge difference from Wonder Woman to many other, especially male superheroes. What do you think I'm talking about?
The Israeli accent?
No.
Okay.
I think it's about, for her, like her soft-spokenness, and then she says it's all about love. You don't hear that much in the superhero movies.
No,
exactly. No. I mean, Spider-Man, there is a love element, and you do, exposed to that.
Spider-Man is also great.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's why, because it has heart.
Yes.
Right.
You don't see a lot. Like, it's one of the most memorable scenes, and I know it's very little, and it's not a big thing, but when Black Widow is touching hands with the Hulk, and the Hulk is calmed down by it, it's only a reference to love and so forth. That just gives you a little piece of it. I think Wonder Woman now, they're not afraid to say, by the way, superheroes can love and fight for love. And I think, unfortunately, I have to say, in our world, it's easier for people to accept a woman saying that. Does that make sense? Is that wrong to say? You know what I mean? Like, if that was Thor saying those exact words, would it be as accepted? Not should it be, would it be as accepted right now? I don't know.
I think it would.
I hope it would. But I don't
so.
know. And let's put it this way. If it would, why isn't it happening? Because it works beautifully with Wonder Woman there.
I just think it was just a confluence of things happening at one time where she was the right spokesperson, that character, for something that we needed to hear right now. And that, we wanted to see Wonder Woman say it's all about love. We didn't want to see Thor. We want to hear her say it right now.
Okay, I agree, but I will say this. There's been probably 15 Marvel movies, if not more. I've not heard one of the characters, other than Spider-Man, talking about diving into this in the first, maybe in second movie when he got married. I'm going to put that out of the mix for a second. Other than that, all of the other movies, including Guardians of the Galaxy, infers it. None of the superheroes are saying, I love you. To anyone.
She was talking about love of humanity.
She's also talking about love of the person that passed away, her love interest that gave his life for the bigger cause to allow her to continue to do her.
But I looked at it as more about just more general love than, yes, he was a part of it. But I took that message to have a broader meaning.
Cool. Even the broader meaning, I haven't heard any, and I love Marvel. I haven't heard any male characters in Marvel say something similar. I'm trying to give her credit for that. I'm trying to say that that's an acknowledgement of a missing element in a lot of these movies.
I think that's why it became so popular also, and also just because of how startlingly beautiful
Gal Gadot is.
Yeah. And it was a good story. It was well done. And that's the message we wanted to get. We wanted to hear right now. And it brought a lot of women to the theater, too, which is important. You can't.
Well, I mean, men too, but women want to hear more than and see more than the battle at Thunderdome or whatever. They want to see more than the fighting scenes. The fighting scenes are important if they have meaning to them.
I think so.
But if they don't have meaning to it, it's just like like we talk about Batman against Superman. I don't think there was really a great meaning to that.
They tried to impose some meaning onto it, but it didn't work.
I think sometimes those movies can be super boring because of that. There's no good story underneath. There's
Which is
meaning.
weird. I didn't see it. I have to see it. I'd hate to admit that I didn't see the most recent Thor, which basically seemed to be just fighting, but got tremendous reviews. I don't know how. I want to see that and investigate that in more detail. But I do want to talk about Wonder Woman a little bit more, in that now we're talking about Wonder Woman, and I think it's a great character, of course, and I think it's a character of our times, and I think she's going to carry the ball for DC in the movie world for a while. But the question is, and she's not the only one. Are there others that can come to play? We just had a visit from Batgirl. She's not in anything yet. We've got Gotham. We've got a lot of female characters in Gotham, mostly evil. It's the only show I've ever seen evil characters that are female. You think of any other superhero that's evil?
But even the evil characters in Gotham, though, are not pure evil. There's a good side to them as well. So, and I think that comes across.
Really? Okay.
I mean, think back to Catwoman, right?
Well, that Fish Mooney is not.
No, not her. But I mean, she was just imposed on that show. She didn't exist in the comic book.
Okay.
But I'm talking about like Catwoman from the first couple of seasons. The girl, I forget her name. There obviously was a very tender side to her that predated, I guess, the pure evil, I guess, she became later. But I think that's part of what the appeal is. And the same thing with Poison Ivy, very like quirky, but not evil. There's no inherent evil in them.
Well, like even Barbara Keene, the doctor who was engaged.
Right, exactly. There was a good nature to them as well. And I think that might have been the appeal. I don't know.
We've talked about this before, and we even did this in shows before. We talked about family sitcoms and things. If it has a heart to it, it's okay to admit that you have a soft side and you have something you love in life. If you don't love anything in life, you're going to be a misanthrope, and there's not going to be a lot going on in people admire, I think. So I think that Wonder Woman, to me, brings this out, and maybe this will ignite a little bit more of that with some of these other DC characters. Superman's supposed to have that with Lois Lane in the movies, except for maybe Christopher Reeve, first movie. I haven't seen that.
No, they got away from
Lois
that.
Lane's loving him,
right?
But I haven't seen him be tender to her.
In the very first Superman movie that ever came out,
right?
I thought that Superman was very vulnerable, extremely vulnerable in that movie.
That's, the Christopher Reeve one, right?
And I know that came out a long time ago, but we're doing everything old is new again.
Yeah, 78, yep.
And I found that to be tremendously appealing. That you could see his, even as a superhero that's almost infallible in a way, other than when he's faced with kryptonite. He was so vulnerable.
And also, he gave up, and I think it was the second one, he gave up his superpowers to be in love, and so that's, I think, why it worked. They've gotten away from that's a great point. That's the last time we've seen, I think, Superman express his love. He's been there, he's hugged her, he's kissed her, but there's no expression, and we're looking to movies to talk to us about things too, not just to show things.
I think so too. And it's like, the question is, what does it, like any protagonist of a movie, what do they stand to lose? And, how does that make them vulnerable and susceptible to defeat? And if you just have like a wisecracking, infallible kind of superhero, which I find sometimes that is boring to me. It's just boring.
Right. I agree.
To be honest.
David, is there anything that you think that is going to happen to the DC world that is unexpected? I mean, have you heard anything in the future of the Justice League, what's happening next? I mean, are there any secrets that you can reveal to us?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Neither have I, and that's what's interesting.
They've got to be. I wouldn't want to be in one of those boardrooms right now talking about like what the next step is for them, because it's been disastrous, other than Wonder Woman.
Right.
So unless they've come up with some brand new idea that they haven't done yet for some other superhero.
They're almost in the universe of Universal with the monsters.
Right.
Where they've got these great characters.
They don't know what to do with them.
It's been done. People have seen, liked or not liked, but where we go from here?
Yeah, they don't.
But meanwhile, Marvel has great characters too that are progressing them with no problem.
Yeah, it seems to be like whatever Marvel does right now, it's like on autopilot. It's going to make a lot of money. And
well,
they
must
really
have better writers. All I can say is they must have better writing.
And this is my mind's eye, but the impression of a DC movie that I have, and I know this is subjective, but when I look at them, it has this dark cloud on them, this metallic look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That look, I don't know what that is. And when you see a movie with Marvel, it's bright. It's
more of a comic book. Yeah.
Why are they doing that? Why can't they change that?
I don't know.
Am I wrong? Like you've seen it in every single DC, no?
Yeah, and maybe it's just infectious from Batman, because Batman, inherently was in the comic books,
like
a very moody kind of thing. Right, The Dark Knight, and I think the new Superman franchise sort of followed in that vein. It was also sort of a dark take on Superman, and it just seems to be carrying forward. I think you're right. They have to get back. They have to back off from that and get back to the things that made, like you were saying, Michelle, the original Superman so popular. Back to the human side and lighten it up a little bit and make it more about love, like Wonder Woman was.
It was more comic booky. Remember Lex Luthor and his girlfriend living underground?
It was fun.
Right, exactly.
It was funny and light.
It was good, clean fun.
Exactly, and that's what we're all about. We're having the arguments you love to have. We're having a great time. Thank you very much, Michelle. David Cohen will be back next week, and Everything Old is New again to talk about more pop culture, entertainment, and let's have some fun out there. Will you, people? Come on. Come on. Like this.
From best-selling author and award-winning writer, actor, and director Alan Alda comes his new book, If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? In the book, Alan shares powerful lessons in the science of communication, improving the way we relate to each other using improv games, storytelling, and our own innate abilities to read the true thoughts and feelings of others. Be sure to pick up your copy of Alan Alda's If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? Available now from Random House.
You've been listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's pop culture entertainment talk show. Find us on the web at everythingoldisnewagain.biz. That's .biz.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.